Alright guys, welcome back for more gaming news. It's again every time here, and tonight we will be discussing about new upcoming gaming title, State of Decay 3, inclusive of its release date and with all latest news and rumors surrounding it. While the world's zombie obsession isn't as prevalent as it was a few years ago, we're still set to see some serious undead action in the future. Undead Labs has a third entry in its State of Decay series in the works that will surely pit an eclectic cast of survivors against hordes of wandering undead as they try to rebuild in a brutal world. Each entry of the series so far has included action-adventure, survival horror, stealth, role-playing and strategy elements, blending genres into an interesting civilization rebuilding zombie decapitating experience. State of Decay 3 is set to bring back Undead Labs' open-world survival zombie series with a new experience that will build on what's come before. Officially revealed back in 2020, the Xbox Game Showcase 2024 reveals at last gave us a substantial update on the project. With a new trailer and more details dropping about the larger open-world direction of the sequel to 2018 State of Decay 2, Undead Labs is setting out to make a more ambitious follow-up, with a bigger team forming under the Xbox Game Studios banner. The first State of Decay game came out all the way back in 2013, and the franchise is still growing. Following 2018's sequel, State of Decay 2, a third game is now in the works for Xbox and PC. The biggest piece of news of late on State of Decay 3 is that it's ramping up production, as developer Undead Labs winds down development on State of Decay 2 and shifts to the third game. It had been quite some time since we'd heard or seen much about State of Decay 3, but the latest news suggests it could be one very exciting upcoming Xbox Series X game to look forward to. Neither Undead Labs nor Microsoft has announced a release date for State of Decay 3, which means it will be a while before we see the much-anticipated sequel. The cinematic trailer premiered at the Xbox Game Showcase in July 2020. The game was in the early pre-production stages. A second trailer dropped during the Xbox Game Showcase in June 2024 and included cinematics with more characters and a brief look at some combat gameplay. We estimate that State of Decay 3 will be released in 2026 based on the cinematic reveal trailer we received at the Xbox Showcase, and how State of Decay 2 was released 2 years after the reveal trailer shown at E3 2016. Though there's ultimately no way to know for sure until we hear more from developers. State of Decay 3 is not available for pre-order. Game Pass Ultimate members will be able to play State of Decay 3 at launch for free as a perk of their subscription. State of Decay and State of Decay 2 were exclusive on console to Xbox and also released on PC. And State of Decay 3 is likely to follow a similar rollout. Microsoft acquired Undead Labs after the launch of State of Decay 2, further bolstering the theory that it will remain a console exclusive to Xbox. Microsoft is bringing some of its games to PlayStation of late, but nothing has been confirmed for State of Decay 3. So State of Decay 3 is set to release on Xbox Series X and PC. Like all of the other video games in development under the Xbox Game Studio publishing wing, State of Decay 3 will launch day one on the Xbox Game Pass subscription service and is expected to be available via Xbox Cloud Gaming like its predecessor State of Decay 2. State of Decay 3 might have been announced in 2020, but it has been reported that the game was still in pre-production as of 2022. This news came out as part of an investigation into developer Undead Labs' workplace culture, in which studio staff put forward allegations of sexism, bullying, and burnout to reporters at Kotaku. Following these reports, it had been quiet on the State of Decay 3 front for quite some time, before a fresh trailer dropped for the game during the Xbox Game Showcase in summer 2024. Most recently, the studio has revealed a logo change, with a dev diary shedding light on an increased headcount on the team, which is now 6 times larger than it was for the first State of Decay. Though the first in the series is a beloved survival game, State of Decay 2 released with a myriad of issues, including many bugs, and while they were eventually ironed out, fans of the games felt the second offering lacked the story beats and character interactions that made the initial game so good. It also experienced its fair share of online co-op issues, as it didn't have cross-progression, and gave friends joining your game little to no incentive to help you out or experience the world together. That being said, State of Decay 2 did end up in pretty good shape, and hopefully laid down a more concrete path for State of Decay 3 to follow. It does seem like the new trailer addresses what was missing from the original story, the camaraderie and in-depth characters we can get behind. We're also hoping that the breakdown mode is present, whether as an extra mode, a DLC, or baked into the campaign in some way. State of Decay 2 was mainly a solo venture, but there were plenty of ways to play with friends or join in on strangers' games. After you started a campaign, you could have a friend join you, taking over another survivor in your community. There were a few limitations to the system though. The incoming player would be tethered to the host, meaning if the second player strayed too far away, they would black screen and return to an area close to the host. So there was no room for completely separate exploration on the same map. And the tethering system made quick getaways from zombie hordes a little too easy in some cases. Players could also use the in-game radio to put out a call for help on the State of Decay servers, inviting any other player online to jump in and play on your map. There was also cross-platform play enabled between Xbox and PC players. It's safe to assume that State of Decay 3 will have similar multiplayer options in place. One option that we believe was missing from its predecessor was truly shared servers. Building up a community with your friend that you both could access at any time would be great, as opposed to having a buddy jump into a map you owned. It was never very fun to put in work on someone's community and level up a survivor only to log on to your own game and be back at square one. State of Decay 2 saw a handful of DLCs during its lifetime. Each one introduced a handful of new weapons, vehicles, outfits, and facility mods to the game, spicing up the game a bit. The final DLC, titled Heartland, brought players back to Trumbull Valley, the original setting of State of Decay, for a more story-based game mode. In Heartland, players choose from two sets of starting characters who have traveled to Trumbull Valley for different reasons. Both pairs of survivors are on a mission to find people important to them. Quote, characters who appeared in the original State of Decay. The DLC also introduced the largest base site in the game, Blood Plague Freaks. Freaks are superpowered zombies with special abilities in the base game. Now they can infect you with Blood Plague too, and answers to questions about how exactly the Blood Plague came to be. We will surely see a handful of DLCs released for State of Decay 3. It'll be interesting to see if any will revisit a previous setting like Heartland, considering how different the snow-covered mountains of the new titles appear to be. The June 2024 Xbox Wire post detailed that Undead Labs is collaborating with Obsidian Entertainment, the studio behind co-op game Grounded, to bring to life the shared world feature and enable more flexible online co-op. We're heavily emphasizing engaging co-op combat. Patcell details in Xbox Wire. Taking a close look at our level design and approach to how we're building the world to ensure that players can have a blast smashing and shooting zombies together out in the open world. Following State of Decay 3's announcement in 2020, Microsoft and Undead Labs stayed pretty quiet on the game. That's largely remained the status quo since. But a major development came in September 2024 when Undead Labs said it was winding down development on State of Decay 2 so its team members could shift to State of Decay 3. Our ambition is to make the greatest zombie survival sim in the franchise, and to do so, we'll be shifting our focus and resources to making the upcoming third installment, State of Decay 3. Undead Labs said. Many are naturally wondering when State of Decay 3 will come out, but Undead Labs isn't ready to say just yet, saying more information will come at a later time. Thank you for your continued support and for being the greatest gaming community there is. We're excited to devote ourselves to making the next game even better, the studio said. A 2024 dev diary published on October 31st offered some behind-the-scenes insight into State of Decay 3 and the studio behind it. Among other things, the video confirms that State of Decay and State of Decay 2 were made by relatively small teams, but State of Decay 3 has a much larger studio size. In 2022, Kotaku published a report detailing alleged controversies within the studio, including allegations of sexism, bullying, and burnout. The report detailed how Microsoft's acquisition of Undead Labs was reportedly hampered by toxic workplace conditions and lack of direction. In response, Xbox's Matt Booty said, Undead Labs has seen a number of positive changes and we are confident in the direction the team is taking State of Decay 3, one of our most ambitious open-world games in development. We haven't seen a lot of gameplay details yet, but we're assuming that the core of State of Decay 3 will look a lot like its predecessors. Controlling a small community of survivors, players will comb the map for supplies to survive, other lost folks to recruit to their community, and plague hearts to destroy. A few things fans expect to get an overhaul are the game's base building system, a bit more character development, and more robust customization options for weapons, cars, and clothes. While the characters of State of Decay 2 had plenty of background stories to share and quirky one-liners that gave them a bit of life, there was virtually no change to characters throughout the game, and very few instances where characters seriously bonded. If a long-standing member of the community got taken out by a stray plague zombie, the rest of the crew would have low morale for a day or so and maybe speak a single remorseful line, but then it was back to business. As mentioned, this is the first time that the State of Decay games have moved into the wilderness. Given the survival elements of the games, that means that the third installment could see weather as a key factor, and it may affect how shelters are built or warmed. In a recent podcast, Xbox Game Studios head Matt Booty revealed that State of Decay 3 is being made in Unreal Engine 5 with the assistance of Gears of War developer The Coalition, meaning that the new entry in the series will be visually stunning whenever it releases. There are also signs pointing to the game featuring more cinematic cutscenes than previous entries. Undead Labs has been spotted collaborating with other XGS teams on animation work. We've still not really seen all that much in the way of State of Decay 3 gameplay, but the studio is aiming to deliver the new ultimate in zombie survival simulation. As for what the next evolution in State of Decay will ultimately look like, a podcast from Xbox's Major Nelson back in 2022 revealed that the game is being developed in Unreal Engine 5, with Undead Labs collaborating with Gears of War developer The Coalition to get the most out of the platforms. State of Decay 2 was a survival simulation which let you navigate a zombie apocalypse by shaping your own community of survivors, managing resources, and establishing defenses against a surmounting horde of undead intruders. An Xbox Wire post following the Xbox Game Showcase 2024 detailed that State of Decay 3 is set to build on those foundations in a much larger and truly shared open world. Features from previous installments will be making a comeback, with a greater emphasis put on permadeath to really drive the idea that a community member has been lost. I think it's important for not just the player to have that remembrance, but the characters in the world as well, creative director Kevin Patselt explains. So our narrative systems are really going to be there to help support those biggest ones. Because there's nothing bigger than losing a community member, especially if there's someone that you invested a lot of time and energy into. I think we need to do a better job of showing that sacrifice is meaningful and how it might impact the community. And there you have it. This is everything we know about State of Decay 3 so far. Some additional info might be unveiled over the course of time, so make sure to check back, as we'll be updating our channel soon as more information get revealed from developers and all that. In the meantime, why not take a look at all the latest information surrounding the other hotly anticipated titles. So guys, that's it. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please give this video a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Till then, peace.